with me today.
My pleasure, of course, and definitely an honor.
Thank you. So as you know, I've been interviewing different people, really talking about their experience being Black in America, not just Black men, but just being Black in America. And I was really excited when you agreed to speak with me because I wanted to get different perspectives. So I spoke with someone that I grew up with in my age group. But I'm excited about talking to you because you're a little bit out of my age group.
A little bit?
Just a little bit. Just
Okay.
a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you too.
So I know that you grew up in Chicago. Can you tell
Southside.
me, yeah. So can you tell me like what your experience was like with the I guess police force or just being a Black kid growing up in Chicago?
Wow, there were so many different experiences, negative and positive.
Mm-hmm.
Let me start out with the positive. Of course, they always have the officer-friendly programs that come to your school so
Right.
that you can get, a good vibe with law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had an especially good vibe with law enforcement because one of my best friends, Nelson, his dad was a Chicago police officer.
Okay.
So he would come around, we'd get in the car, turn on the siren, turn on the lights,
Yeah.
and we had an excellent rapport with him. And he would talk to us about police and what their job was and
Mm-hmm.
mannerisms, behaviors, all that type of stuff. And there were a few others in the neighborhood that we knew who were Black police.
You're right.
Now, let's flip over to the negative side.
Mm-hmm.
My very first encounter that I can remember being negative was during holiday break. And a friend and I had gone downtown Chicago into the Loop to this pet shop. And we were trying to get information about different types of fish for an aquarium that we were doing for a science project in school.
So
This
you were
was
young.
this was middle school. This
Okay.
was so I had to be either 11 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're walking through the store, these two white guys, older men, well, to us older because we're only, 11, 12,
Yeah.
they're following us around through the store. And when they see us stopping looking at the fish and, just wandering around that area, they say, come on, they grab us. I mean, they physically grab us and
Mm-hmm.
drag us into a back room, into a storage area. What are you doing here? Where are your parents? How come you're down here by yourselves?
Wow.
You're down here to steal and all types of other stuff. One has got a billy club in his hand, and the other one is screaming at us, and we are scared to death. So after maybe 10 minutes of questioning and intimidation, all that, they say, get out of here, go home, and don't come back down here again.
Wow.
We make it back to the south side, and that was in the middle of the week. Uh, um, his name was Michael. There were
How could
four
you
Michaels.
forget?
Four Michaels in one. I don't care what classroom I was in, there was always another Michael. So he
Still,
and I
yeah.
get back home. We both tell our parents what happened. What were you doing? Were you doing anything you had no business doing? Did you keep
Mm-hmm.
your hands to yourself like we told you
Mm-hmm.
to? Did you not touch anything? Yeah, all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
we get to school the following week and explain to our teacher what happened so that we could get a pass on not having what we were supposed to have for our science project. And she let it go, and she said she understood because
Wow.
that was around the same time that Dr. King was marching, had just left Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot of tension in the area of what was going on then. Uh, then let's see, let's fast forward to my teens. Just learned how to drive, got my license, and I'm raised by my grandparents.
You're
Like
right.
I said, 47th Street, South Side. So I'm coming back home from wherever I was driving from. My sister, who is 4 years younger than I am, standing there at the bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stopped, roll the window down. Where are you going? And
Right.
she tells me, I say, okay, well, I'll pick you up. But before I get to, I'll take you where you're going. Before I get that part out, squad car pulls up behind. He says, move your car. And I said, okay, come on, get in. So she
Mm-hmm.
gets in. And then as soon as she closes the door and I turn the corner, he turns his lights on, pull it over, pull it over. And he comes up to me, he says, didn't I tell you to move the car? I said, I did move the car. I just got waiting for her to get in the car.
Right.
When I tell you to do something, you do it. Give me your license. Took my license, went back to the car, came back and said, next time I tell you to do something, you know, so that type
Mhm.
of thing.
Mhm.
Walking out, we were playing basketball and this cop stops us and is watching us playing. And then he gets out and walks out on the court and we think he's coming to join us, right? No, he just wants to get in the way and stop us from playing.
I think
Um,
that's interesting that you said that though. So it sounds like because of your initial experience with you
Law
know
enforcement.
law enforcement,
Yeah.
you didn't necessarily have a negative viewpoint of them growing up
In the beginning.
in the
And
beginning.
it just gets progressively worse.
Yeah.
Uh, Christmas Eve. You, I think you have a little idea what the snow is like in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
In front of our house. Well, first of all, with all of the snow in Chicago, there's not many places to park. There just happened to be a parking space right in front of our apartment. So I
Mhm.
did a U-turn to park in that parking space in the snow. He's a block away and turns his lights on, comes flying down the street and pulls up. He says, I see you did an illegal U-turn. I said, I'm in the middle of the block. How is it a illegal U-turn? He says, how long have you lived here? I said, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. He says, so you know it's a double yellow line underneath the snow, right? I said,
Oh, wow.
yeah, but there's no cars. And I just turned around and I was going to get this parking space because it's not that breaking the law. And it's like, he's writing me a ticket for doing an illegal U-turn on
Mhm.
Christmas Eve. I said, I keep that comment. But oh boy, and then more and more on and on from there. My license plate at the time said "Kicking Jazz," and I made it through this yellow light. It was yellow,
Mhm.
not yellow turning green. It was all.
It
It
was
was yellow. I mean, turning red. Yellow turning red. It was yellow. And he says, you ran a light. I said, I didn't run a light. And he says, let me have your license and proof insurance. He goes back to his car, looks it up, comes back. He says, well, I see you haven't had any problems. You must be a jazz fan. I said, yeah. He says, you know Marcellus Brothers, right? I said, yeah, I'm familiar with them. He says, well, you know, they've been in trouble lately. So what I need for you to do is not get in trouble. Branford got in trouble. He didn't get in trouble. He mouthed off at the police because they were
Mhm.
giving him a hard time unnecessarily. And
Mhm.
so he was using that as an intimidation factor. And then that's just a few, but there has been continuous throughout my Black life.
Right.
They want to flex their muscles and, you know, prove how strong they are and that they are the authority that we're supposed to recognize and bow down and kowtow. No, it ain't working like that.
So you're a father. What was that conversation like with your kids, with them growing up and kind of warning them
My
about
parents,
interactions? Yeah.
um, same thing as when you're out in public, you know, keep your hands to yourself. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you don't touch anything. If you ever get pulled over the police, make sure you have your hands in front of you and where they can see them. So if you
Right.
have to hold the steering wheel, it's the same lecture that we give to our kids now. This was back in this is
You know what I'm doing?
this is back in the 70s. Wow. And you know, if you're gonna move in the car, make sure you ask for permission to move. So when I
Mhm.
get pulled over, I said my driver's license is in my back pocket. Is it okay if I reach my back pocket and get it? Proof of insurance is in the glove compartment. It's okay. I don't have a weapon, but is it all right for me to reach in the glove
Right.
compartment and get my insurance? So that's the way it is then. That's the way it is now. Same
Mhm.
way. Uh, I learned. I've always answered their questions and not try to give extra information. But from your godmother, Lori, always emphasizing answer the question. Don't give extra information. Don't give under
Just
information. Just
keep it.
answer the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. That's an excellent point.
So
And I know
she's
I
that was
still
what my
have
grandmother said. Just answer the questions,
yeah.
keep your attitude where it's supposed to be, because if you
Mhm.
speak a certain way to them, then
Mhm.
you're asking for more trouble.
If you do, if you don't, it's sometimes if you don't. But
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know I feel that same way to this day. If I get pulled over, it's that making sure my hands are here and kind of talking through every single thing. Like I'm reaching for this. Is it okay? So yeah, yeah. I mean, we all have those same conversations growing up.
Yes.
So have your kids ever come to you with a racial experience that gave you anxiety?
Um, my daughter Tasia says she had an instructor that didn't like her. I said, well, why do you say she doesn't like her? She said she talks to everybody else in the class differently. I said, what do you mean everybody else? Well, everybody else in the class is white, and I'm the only black one in the class.
Mhm.
I know what that's like. I've been the only one almost all my life,
Yep.
except for school. I grew up Southside Chicago,
Yeah.
all black teachers, all black schools. So my first experience being exposed to white educators was in college.
Mhm.
Uh, my daughter had the same experience. Her first teachers who were all white were in college as well. And she says, well, she's giving me a hard time. I said, what is she trying to get you to do? And she answered the question. I said, is that the same thing she expects from everybody else? He says, no, she gives me a little extra more and she wants my answers to be different. When I give the same answer, she doesn't accept my
Mhm.
answer, but she accepts someone else's who
Mhm.
gives the exact same answer and they get credit for it and I don't.
Wow.
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the benefit to being able to grow up with professors, teachers that look like you. Because
Yes.
I had that same situation too. And I think it makes a huge difference. But then I also think it makes you even more frustrated once you hit that reality, you know?
I'm
Because it
telling you.
doesn't have to be that way.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. This is going to be my final question for you. I want to keep you all night.
This
What?
has been fine. I was wondering, I said, do I need to study? I wonder
No,
what she asked. Should I
absolutely not. It's just us
we're
having a
just gonna go
conversation.
with it? Yeah.
My final question is, what was the most, I hate to say it like this, but the most traumatic experience, life-changing experience for you? Like, what was your crash moment where you realized that race was a thing and someone might treat you differently because of the color of your skin?
There's a lot of them.
Mhm.
Uh, wow. Let's see. I was in TV radio communications. My very first job at Sears Tower,
Mhm.
when Sears Tower first opened in '73. And after about 4 years, I was now ready for management in TV radio production. I was audio coordinator, lighting director, this, that, and the other, everything to do with TV production
Mhm.
uh, in their studios there in Sears Tower. At the time, they recognized that I was good at what I did. I didn't need direction. I could help out anywhere at any time. So they wanted to make me a manager of the department, which is only, maybe 14, 12, 14 people. Those 12, 14 people are all white.
Mm.
And they didn't, when they found out that I was getting the position, they didn't like it. So they said, well, they changed their mind and decided not to give me the position. And I wound up not getting it. And I quit because I didn't get the position.
Mhm.
Young, dumb, naive, stupid, uninformed, all of those things because I could have fought it, but I didn't know any better.
So if you were looking back, if you were giving your younger self advice, you would have told yourself to stick it out?
Stick it out,
Mm.
fight, um,
Mm.
get some support, some legal support,
Mm.
because I could have had that position and flourished in it.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, I took those experiences and got into retail sales for high-end audio and video. So I
Mm.
was selling flat screen TVs and not flat screen. They weren't flat screen back then.
Oh, those big screens?
Big screen
I
TVs
remember.
and high-end audio and hooking them up.
Yeah.
So I was in Water Tower Place, downtown,
Mhm.
North Michigan Avenue. And so the people that came in there had money. So course, every time you make a sale, you make the offer, do you want me to hook this up for you? It'll
Mhm.
be delivered on such, such. Yeah, yeah. So most of the time I would get the gig, but then they said, no, we'd rather have someone else come
Mm.
because of this.
Mhm. That's
So
yeah, that moment.
that type of stuff. And being on that end of North Michigan Avenue and money, and they're uncomfortable with you coming into their homes. Some of them were fine, not a
Mhm.
problem. You make the sale and you do the setup. Others, oh no, you can sell it to me, but no, you can't come in my house. And
Right. Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah. Ah, well, I want to thank you so much for being part of my series, The Black
very well.
Experience. I'm really just trying to humanize the color of our skin and make people realize our stories and understand our perspective. So I appreciate it.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Love you.